Hello, this is Martin Gore from Depeche Mode.
Hi, this is Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode, and you are listening to
My Nerd World.
It is My Nerd World. Welcome to it. My name is Jon Justice, and this special breaking news edition of Depeche Mode, the podcast, taking everybody completely by surprise, Depeche Mode releases My Cosmos Is Mine as the second single? Now, this goes kind of against what I was talking about on yesterday's episode, and that is Depeche Mode taking their more conventional approach to releasing the music ahead of the album, as opposed to the way that a lot of bands have been releasing music ahead, modern bands, if you will, have been releasing music ahead of their albums. This move of dropping My Cosmos Is Mine out of the blue is more in line with what a lot of artists are doing as of late. And I honestly, if this is the second single from the album, I'm really surprised that they ended up choosing this song. It's not that I don't like My Cosmos Is Mine, but it's just in terms of conventional singles, I know most people have been pointing towards Wagging Tongue. That had been the talk ever since they performed that live on the French television show. I think the expectation was, well, whatever songs they're performing live were more than likely, in promotion of Memento Mori, were more than likely going to end up becoming the single. So either Wagging Tongue or My Favorite Stranger. So the choice to release My Cosmos Is Mine is really, really interesting. And I gotta say, I'm surprised. I'm happy to see it, but I'm surprised at the response to it so far. I'm on the Depeche-Mode.com Halo forum, and I'll just read you a few of the comments here that have dropped over the course of the past hour. Bellick writes, "What a great album opener. Can't wait to hear the rest of the album. This is exactly why," says Emil G. "This is exactly why DM is the number one musical constellation in my world. Not because Ghosts Again is the best pop song ever, not because My Cosmos Is Mine is the best slow electro blues track out there, but because these guys have released them both back to back, and they managed to make them both sound unmistakingly DM. The variation in expression, no other band comes even close." Smuts101 writes, "Yeah, I like it. I like that. Very good." Let's see. Panos writes, "Yeah, probably the first album. I'm going to skip the opener." Okay. Luster writes, "It's like DM had to sound with Alan after Songs of Faith and Devotion." Let's see. Cara Milalina writes, "Instant love for this song. It doesn't have to grow. Psychedelic vibes. Can't wait to hear the whole album. I love it. But is this really the second single?" Writes Charles Foret. And only 3 weeks after the first one. Sly Rock says, "Welcome back, DM. I haven't felt this way about a song in a long, long time. Definitely giving me Alan vibes. And that is a great thing. For me," says Danless, This song is very climactic. It's a very climactic song. So much going on in the background. Something like they made it with Alan. Shame that there is no chorus in the song. Ozan writes, "Terrible song to open the album. Nothing special indeed." So it's only 2 negative comments that I've seen so far, and just a few more. Samonji writes again, "My Cosmos Is Mine is the little brother to Welcome to My World." I mentioned that. I had that same comparison on a recent show. But I prefer the new one a lot more. I do as well. Nadgon writes, "Absolutely crazy song. I like it. Far better than Ghosts. Reminds me of the Black Celebration album." All right, so in terms of context of this song with the rest of the album, this song is unlike the rest of Memento Mori, as I've mentioned in my review, while still very much falling in line with the feel of the rest of the album. So that's not a negative in my opinion at all. If you're liking the moodiness of it, the layering and the texture of My Cosmos Is Mine, I'm confident you'll end up liking the rest of the album, but understand that this song is sort of the most haunting and ethereal of anything else on Memento Mori. Which actually brings me to something that I haven't talked about a ton in my descriptions of the album, but there is quite a bit of variety going on, but there's something magical in the fact that the album still absolutely connects. All the songs still feel like they belong on Memento Mori, but there is, some drastic differences in the way the songs sound. My Cosmos is Mine being one. My gut tells me that they released My Cosmos is Mine specifically because it is such a counter to Ghosts Again. So Ghosts Again is as poppy and as accessible as you're going to get on Memento Mori, in my opinion, where My Cosmos is Mine is the most ethereal and experimental, for lack of a better word, that you're going to get on the album. Everything else sort of, I don't want to say falls in line with typical Depeche Mode, but more in line with what you've probably heard in those live versions of My Favorite Stranger and Wagging Tongue. I think the standout tracks go back to, and I'll say it again, People Are Good, and from a handful of individuals that I know have also heard that song, they seem to be echoing the same thing that I've been saying, of that song sounds very much like something that's pulled from the Construction Time Again era, or Some Great Reward in terms of the keyboard and the synth work, lyrically as well, while still having nods to Songs of Faith and Devotion. As I've mentioned, there's a squeal in that song that sounds like it's ripped directly from the opening of I Feel You. But as a fan, this is the kind of stuff that I love in the lead up to an album, and seeing people's responses to hearing the new music and what I've been dying to hear. A lot of people mentioning this is the tour opener. Somebody says terrible song to open the album, nothing special indeed. I completely disagree with that. That came from Ozone. Somebody else wrote, feel the same, a tour opener, big no. It's going to be the tour opener. I would be shocked if it was not the tour opener. It's very interesting, though, they decided to release this particular track, especially considering the reception of Ghosts Again. I know that, I don't know, I literally just sat down. This dropped about, an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. I've been busy doing a couple other things and just decided, you know what, I'll pop on here for 10 minutes and talk a bit about this release and, share some of the comments on here. With the band having so much renewed interest, this is a really unique choice to put out to the public as an example. And, perhaps, and we'll see. I mean, based on the response of the fans, maybe that this was the intention all along. It seems like many of you are really enjoying the sound of My Cosmos is Mine. Some of you say you even like it even more than Ghosts Again. So perhaps Ghosts Again being the more commercial, the band decided to go the route of, well, let's see what the fans think about the one track that's probably the least accessible on Memento Mori. Again, my opinion here. I'll read a few more comments here. Some more comments have rolled into the Depeche-Mode.com home forum. King Bing writes, wasn't it Dave who said that Andy would have criticized some songs as being too artsy? Well, I guess we know what he was talking about. But I love it. Great atmosphere, good production. I'm still shocked that this came without a countdown to a countdown. I know. Let's see. Sly Rock continues. They commented earlier. Believe it or not, I always point to Welcome to My World as being the song that missed Alan's touch the most. It could have been epic. This song is what Welcome to My World should have been. And I want to go back to that comment in particular, Welcome to My World, missing Alan's touch. I've made this comment on previous episodes of some of the songs, especially off Delta Machine, Angel being the one that I point to the most, I think, just sounded like they needed more. Like they didn't flesh the song all the way through to its fruition and full potential. And that's one of the things that I love about Memento Mori and why I keep personally saying that I feel like it's the best release since Songs of Faith and Devotion. It's what many people are pointing out in their comments about My Cosmos is Mine, and that is this feels like, Alan's back again. It has the atmosphere to it. All the songs on Memento Mori feel like they've reached their full potential. And I will say that hearing the release of My Cosmos Is Mine as opposed to the version that I have, which I gave it a 6 out of 10 yesterday in terms of sound quality. It's more like a 7.5 and 8 out of 10. I was listening to the album again this morning, and it's not nearly that bad. Once the album is out, I'll explain, because there's a reason why it sounds that way in terms of the copy that I got. But hearing the full version, the clean version of My Cosmos Is Mine, has me even more excited to hear the rest of the album, because it feels a lot bigger than the version that I had. And it's just in terms of the production, the quality of the song, of the MP3 that I got, as opposed to what they just officially released. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm really jazzed to see everybody's comments on this. I'm shocked that the band released the single, or released My Cosmos Is Mine, if they're officially calling it a single or not. I'm still wondering when we're going to get remixes for Ghosts Again. I can't imagine getting a single release with remixes for My Cosmos Is Mine, but who knows at this point in time. But this was definitely a shocker in the world of Depeche Mode. So people are already dropping comments on yesterday's episode. So leave me a comment here if you're watching or listening on YouTube, or you can email me, as always, talkshownerd@gmail.com, talkshownerd@gmail.com. Of course, if anything else breaks, I'll be sure to pop back on and let you know. They did put up a video doing that thing with my fingers. It's just the Memento Mori cover up on YouTube, and the song for My Cosmos Is Mine. I wonder if they shot a video for it. Very interesting. But I like what I'm seeing so far, and I'd love to hear more from you and your thoughts on this now that you've had an opportunity to hear another track on the album. I'll leave you with this. If you're liking both Ghosts Again and My Cosmos Is Mine, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the rest of the album. I really, really do. And I'm feeling a lot better about my high praise for it at this point in time. But again, like I always say, it's always subjective. So, all right, I'm going to let you go. Get back to whatever you're doing. Thanks for checking out this brief episode. I tried to keep it as short as possible. I'll be back next week, unless something else breaks between now and then, with another full episode of Depeche Mode, the podcast. And again, if you want to email me, talkshownerd@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter @TheMyNerdWorld. @TheMyNerdWorld on Twitter. You can also find that same on Instagram. And I have a TikTok. That one you can find me at the Jon Justice, the Jon Justice. So I hope wherever you are that you're enjoying now 2 tracks off of Memento Mori, and that you are happy, you are healthy, and you are safe. And again, I'll talk to you next week. Bye.